Aloha mai kākou, o wau o ke hau Lucas, he kumu a he laikahi hakulau ma ʻaʻapueo nei. Aloha, I'm Kumu ke hau Lucas. I am a kumu and a designer for Kanaʻiaupuni. Today in this wikiō, we will be covering the general definition of culture-based education, as well as some of the components that we see emerge in best practice when we think about culture-based education. So what is culture, and how might we define culture here at Kamehameha schools? We can think of culture as our shared ways of being, especially within the context of Hawaiian culture. Those shared ways of being include the practices, the knowledge, the beliefs, the experiences, the language, and the values within a particular culture. And for us, specifically the Hawaiian culture. When we consider a definition of culture-based education, oftentimes the notion of cultural relevance comes up. And the best way to achieve cultural relevance is through teaching and learning that is grounded in culture, that is grounded in those shared ways of being. All of those aspects are truly the foundation of what makes up culture. Based on the work of Kanaʻiaupuni and Kawaiʻaia in 2008, as published in their article E Lauhoi Mai Nā Waʻa in Hūlili, we see that a study done across the state of different types of kumu in different types of kula, there are 5 critical components of Hawaiian culture-based education that emerge and that are helpful to us as kumu as guidelines on how to structure culture-based education within our own content areas. Together, these encompass the Hawaiian Indigenous education rubric. And we really highly encourage kumu to look at this rubric as a guideline for setting up culture-based education. The 5 major components that emerge within the Hawaiian Indigenous education rubric include language, family and community, content, context, and lastly, assessment and accountability. The first component, language, is pretty straightforward. It really talks about your ability as a kumu to incorporate the native or heritage language within your curriculum. Specifically for us, ʻōlelo Hawaiʻi. Understanding that each kumu comes with a different level of fluency in ʻōlelo Hawaiʻi, it really is up to you folks as kumu to figure out where are areas that you can plug in ʻōlelo Hawaiʻi that make sense and that fit nicely with your curriculum. The second component is family and community. This component is tied to the values portion of culture. When we think about family and community, what are the values that our families instill in our haumana and that they bring with them to school? On the community side, it really is focusing on pilina and establishing those connections with community so that the lahui can thrive. Within this component of family and community, there really is the goal of actively involving them in development of curricula, of everyday interactions, as well as in leadership. The next component is content. And within this component, our kuleana as kumu is to continually be looking at ways to make learning more relevant, more meaningful for our OEV learners through culturally grounded content as well as assessment. The fourth component of the Hawaiian Indigenous education rubric is context. Context is taking a look at structuring all the learning experiences that our haumana have within the school setting and making sure that they are done in ways that are culturally appropriate. The last component is assessment and accountability. We as kumu should be collecting data to inform our work, but doesn't stop there. The data we collect and how we collect it should be done in ways that are culturally responsible and that serve our learners and our vision. We encourage you to use these components as guidelines in your planning. In addition to the components highlighted in the Hawaiian Indigenous Education rubric, there are some common features that also emerge that are helpful to actualizing Hawaiian culture-based education. Those features are place-based experiences and community-driven approaches. So we can add those onto the 5 components as other ways to actualize HCBE. Within those place-based and community-driven approaches, we see the draw on resources and expertise and knowledge coming from the community and serving as collaborators within the classroom. Using this framework and the 5 components found within the Hawaiian Indigenous Education rubric, we can begin to describe Hawaiian culture-based education from the perspective of a kumu, and therefore actualize our kuleana as kumu of OEV learners.